The Zephyrian fleet hung in space like a constellation of death, their massive dreadnoughts casting shadows across Earth's moon. Each vessel stretched nearly 10 kilometers in length, bristling with plasma cannons and quantum disruptors that could vaporize entire cities. Admiral Kethvar observed the approaching human fleet through his command bridge's holographic display, his four eyes narrowing in what his species considered amusement. "Look at them," he chittered to his tactical officer, mandibles clicking, with barely contained laughter. "Their largest vessel is barely 800 meters. We have patrol boats bigger than their flagships." The human fleet consisted of 12 vessels, led by the UES Defiance, Earth's newest and most advanced destroyer. To the Zephyrians, who had conquered 17 star systems with ships that could be seen from planetary surfaces, the human armada looked like a collection of escape pods. Commander Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the Defiance, her knuckles white as she gripped the command console. Around her, the bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency, their faces betraying none of the fear that gnawed at her stomach. Earth's entire space navy was here. Everything humanity had managed to build in the 30 years since first contact with the galactic community. "Sir," her communications officer reported, "we're receiving a transmission from the Zephyrian flagship." On screen, Admiral Kethvar's insectoid features filled the view screen, his translator rendering his chittering into cold, mechanical English. "Human Commander, I am Admiral Kethvar of the Zephyrian hegemony. Your species has refused our generous offer to join our empire as a servitor race. This is your final opportunity to surrender before we demonstrate why 17 worlds kneel before us." Elena straightened her shoulders. "Admiral, this is Commander Elena Vasquez of the United Earth Space Force. I'm afraid I'll have to decline your offer. Earth stands free." The alien's laughter sounded like breaking glass through the translator. "Your bravery is admirable but foolish. Our smallest cruiser outguns your entire fleet. Perhaps when you see our weapons in action, you will reconsider." The transmission cut to black. "All ships, battle stations," Elena commanded. "Implement Protocol Midnight." Across the human fleet, crews scrambled to their positions. In the depths of each ship, reactors that had been running at 30% capacity began cycling up to full power. Weapon systems that appeared crude and primitive to Zephyrian sensors came online, their true nature hidden behind carefully crafted electromagnetic signatures. The Zephyrian fleet advanced in a perfect formation, their massive ships moving with the confidence of inevitable victory. Admiral Kethvar watched as his targeting computers locked onto the human vessels, calculating firing solutions for what would surely be the shortest battle in hegemony history. "Sir," his sensor operator reported, "the human ships are moving into attack formation. Their reactor signatures are unusual." "Unusual how?" "They appear to be running much hotter than our initial scans indicated, and there's something strange about their weapon signatures." Kethvar dismissed the concern with a wave of his clawed hand. "Desperation makes prey animals do foolish things. Begin the attack. Target their flagship first. Make an example." The lead Zephyrian dreadnought's main guns swiveled toward the Defiance, plasma conduits glowing with lethal energy. But before they could fire, Elena's voice cut across the comm channels. "All ships, fire at will. Show them what human engineering can do." The human fleet unleashed hell. What the Zephyrians had mistaken for primitive kinetic weapons were actually railguns, electromagnetic accelerators that could propel tungsten slugs at significant fractions of light speed. But these weren't ordinary railguns. For 30 years, humanity had poured every technological breakthrough, every innovation born from desperation, into creating weapons that could punch far above their weight class. The first salvo from the Defiance struck the Zephyrian flagship's forward shields at nearly 30% of light speed. The tungsten projectile, no larger than a pencil but moving with the kinetic energy of a tactical nuclear weapon, punched through the aliens' defensive screens like they were tissue paper. It continued through 3 decks of reinforced hull plating before finally embedding itself in the ship's primary reactor housing. The explosion that followed lit up the solar system. Admiral Kethvar had less than 2 seconds to process what had just happened before the second human salvo arrived. 11 more relativistic projectiles, each one guided by quantum-entangled targeting systems that made them impossible to jam or deceive, found their marks across his fleet. The UES Determination, barely 200 meters long, fired a projectile that cored the Zephyrian heavy cruiser Voidrender from stem to stern. The UES Indomitable's shot struck the battleship Death's Embrace at the junction of its weapon arrays, causing a cascade failure that tore the massive vessel apart from within. In the span of 30 seconds, the most powerful fleet the Zephyrian hegemony had ever assembled was reduced to expanding clouds of superheated debris. Elena stared at the tactical display in stunned silence. Around her, the bridge crew erupted in cheers, but she felt no joy, only a profound sadness for the lives lost, even if they had been enemies. "Ma'am," her communications officer called. "We're receiving transmissions from the remaining Zephyrian ships. They're requesting terms of surrender." The few surviving alien vessels, mostly support ships that had been outside the primary engagement zone, hung motionless in space. Their commanders had watched in horror as humanity's primitive fleet had obliterated their seemingly invincible armada with weapons that defied everything they thought they knew about human technology. Elena activated the fleet-wide communication channel. "Surviving Zephyrian vessels, this is Commander Vasquez. You are ordered to withdraw from Earth space immediately. Return to your homeworlds and tell them what you've seen here today. Humanity will not be conquered, enslaved, or intimidated. We may be small, but we hit hard." As the battered remnants of the Zephyrian fleet limped away, Elena allowed herself a small smile. Humanity had always been underestimated, too small, too young, too primitive. But what their enemies failed to understand was that humans had spent their entire evolutionary history as the underdogs, and they had learned to make every shot count. The galaxy would remember this day. Earth's tiny warships had spoken, and the universe had listened.